Hey, everybody, meteorologist Amy Sweezy here with Florida Weather Authority. Thank you so much for joining me. If you missed the news, we have Tropical Storm Bertha. It is moving away from Florida, but it is going to be impacting the panhandle. And it's a very slow moving storm, too. So let me go ahead and get right to it here with the graphics, and we'll be able to talk about what's going on. So we have Bertha, and it is now a tropical storm. It was named yesterday. You can see here from the satellite imagery that it's not super organized. We have this blob, if you will, all of the bright colors that you see in the Gulf of Mexico. Those are the cold cloud tops. It's where a lot of the rain is. And notice a lot of the energy and a lot of the rain is out over the Gulf and not actually over land. So that's good news in some ways that it's not super organized, but that doesn't mean that there won't be any impacts from this. That's for sure. So let's take a look here at it in motion. You can kind of see it bubbling up. But again, the center circulation is kind of up in here. And then all of this is sort of disjointed. It's not a nice circular rolling around organized system, which is why it is still a tropical storm and not actually a hurricane. It's moving very slowly. The latest from the National Hurricane Center as of Tuesday morning shows the storm just creeping along the Gulf Coast as a tropical storm, bringing some rain, bringing some flooding concerns to the panhandle, also coastal Alabama, Mississippi, and down into Louisiana as well. Then falling apart by the time we get to Thursday, losing a little bit of steam back down to a depression. That's the small little D in the circle that you see there, and then making landfall as a tropical depression along the coast between Louisiana and Texas. And that would happen this weekend. So because it is moving so slowly and continuing to move so slowly, this is a storm that we are going to be talking about all week long. And it is having some indirect impacts on our weather here. No direct impacts in South Florida or Central Florida. The direct impacts are just in the panhandle across North Florida near Panama City Beach. But here in Central Florida, we have some indirect impacts. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. First of all, here is the rain forecast. And again, notice the reds, the oranges, where we're talking about a foot of rain, 16 inches of rain. That's out over the water. It is not over land. We're talking about anywhere from 1 to 4 inches of rain falling from this storm from the panhandle over into Mississippi, Louisiana, and even into parts of Texas. So that means there is an excessive rainfall option here for the panhandle, but it's not in Central Florida. It's the Big Bend. It's Cedar Key, kind of north of that area, north of Homosassa Springs, and then up toward Tallahassee, Pensacola, and over into Mobile. So 1 to 3 inches of rain is likely as the tropical system slides by, but there'll certainly be some isolated areas that get 5 to 6 inches of rain as as Bertha makes its way gradually to the west. Right now, as of Tuesday morning, these are the weather alerts that we have in effect. And the pink area, that's the tropical storm, the pink and the red, the tropical storm watch and the tropical storm warning in effect for the panhandle of Florida. But really, most of the watches and warnings are west of our state. The blue colors that you see there, those are special marine warnings, just because the water is really getting churned up with Bertha making its way around and kind of churning up that water in the Gulf. All right, next thing we'll talk about is the rain forecast. This is through Wednesday. So it's all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. And what you'll notice again is that the bulk of the rain, the feet of rain, falls out over the Gulf and up closer to Pensacola. We're talking about an inch of rain between Tuesday and Wednesday. And for us here in Central Florida and South Florida, you'll notice it's really more like a typical day where we'll just see a few afternoon showers and storms. In fact, we'll see fewer showers and storms today than we normally do. Why? Well, because as Bertha makes its way to the west, it's actually dragging a little bit of drier air up into the peninsula of Florida. And that drier air is going to limit the amount of rain that we see over the next few days. And of course, when we don't get a lot of rain this time of year, what does that mean for us? Yes, you know, it means heat. It means temperatures are going to be climbing. And I'll show you that here in the 7-day forecast in just a minute. So first of all, we want to take a look at futurecast. So where is the rain? Where are the storms most likely to set up today? I'll expand the screen a little bit so we can see all of Florida. And again, I will put this back to, what time is it right now? Right now, as I'm recording this video, it is 9 a.m. So this is what the radar look like, or the computer model looks like for forecasting at 9 a.m. And what you'll see here is this is the area of low pressure, kind of the center, and all of these rain bands are wrapping around the center of the low. But look what's happening over here. We're far enough away from this low that it's actually dragging some of this drier air up in. And so we are seeing less rain coverage, and that will continue to be the case as we head through the rest of Tuesday, and then also really into Wednesday and Thursday, because this storm is not making forward progression very quickly. Right now, it's only moving between 3 and 5 miles per hour, and it's expected to just kind of creep along the Gulf Coast as it makes its way to the west. So here we go. We'll put this forward in time and show you some rain late morning through early afternoon along the Gulf Coast. And that's actually some of those outer rain bands from the center of Bertha, which again is pushing to the west. But as we continue forward in time, look at that, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, not usually what we see here in the middle of the summertime. We just don't have that deep tropical moisture available to kick up a lot of showers and storms. We'll have a few. It doesn't mean you're going to be totally rain free. In fact, once we get to the evening hours, look at Flagler and Volusia County, how we start seeing some of this rain. Again, as it just kind of rolls around this circulation, we will see a couple of these pockets of rain showers and even some thunderstorms developing. 7, 8 o'clock, we're still getting a couple of these lines of rain, that most of which will push to the north. They're not going to be pushing to the west or pushing back toward the East Coast. Most of them will have kind of a northerly movement because the circulation of Bertha is giving them that path, sending them off to the north. Continuing forward then, even into the late night, take a look at this. This is Tuesday night at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., even midnight. So we'll likely have a few late showers, even past the heat of the day. We've got this extra energy because Bertha's close by. And then in the overnight, early morning hours, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, that rain will start to die down. Now, we'll still see more rain developing on Wednesday. In fact, look at Wednesday morning. Look at South Florida, how we start to see some showers bubbling up here from Miami northward, all the way up the coast here in Fort Lauderdale. We will see some of these showers that will be just kind of right along the coast there. Look how they start to move inland a little bit, even beyond 95 by 8 a.m. on Wednesday, and then start to fall apart once we hit the late morning hours, with a few showers then lingering off the coast. Central Florida, we're at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Continuing forward in time, there's noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Again, 3 o'clock, that's generally when we really start to see stuff bubbling up. We're still getting a little bit in South Florida. We're getting some in the panhandle from the outer edges of Bertha. But in Central Florida, that dry air getting dragged to the north is really limiting the showers and storms for Wednesday. There you go, a couple of pockets. Doesn't mean no rain. Again, through the evening, we'll see some rain. And then by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, even closer to sunset on Wednesday, a lot of the rain focus will then be from Orlando west. So over along the Gulf Coast, Tampa, you will be seeing some of the showers and storms once we get into Wednesday late night. So as you're planning out your next couple of days, definitely something that you'll want to keep in mind. Here's the loop now of the whole thing, now that we've gone through step by step, and you can watch how Bertha is nearby and then just gradually makes its way over to New Orleans, and then will continue on and make its way over into Texas as we go through the next couple of days. Now, let me go back to my other graphic here. We've talked about where the storms are going to set up today and tomorrow. Because we don't have a lot of rain, I mentioned the heat. So let's talk temperatures. Tuesday afternoon, easily making it into the mid 90s. These are just the numbers from one of our computer models at 2 p.m. So it's not the daytime highs, but I do think most of our inland areas will climb into the mid 90s, anywhere from 93 even up to 96. A couple of spots could hit 97 today. I think we're more likely to get closer to the upper 90s on Wednesday and Thursday, but on Tuesday, it's certainly possible. The other thing I want to show you, which is very interesting, is the dew point temperatures. Now, the dew point has to do with how much moisture is in the air. And generally, when we get to the summer months and we're in July and August, the dew points get into the mid to upper 70s. That is that sweltering, muggy, where you can't sweat very well, or I should say you are sweating so much that you can't get cool from your sweat. It's just those really, really hot days when the heat index climbs to 110, 115. We've already had a few of them this summer. We've had excessive heat warnings in effect. This is a totally different story. When the dew points in the summer drop down into the mid to upper 60s or even lower 70s, it feels a lot better. Now, granted, on Wednesday, it's going to be 95 to 97 degrees, but the thing is, it's going to feel like 95 to 97 degrees because of these dew points. May feel a couple of degrees warmer than the actual air temperature, 97, 98. So the sun is still hot. It's still beaming down. We still have that really intense heat index. But when you see these numbers in the 60s, that does not give us that heat index of 110 or 112 or 115. So it's going to be a nice welcome change, not for long, but we can thank Bertha for it because Bertha is bringing in the drier air, which means slightly lower humidity levels, not like January. It's not going to feel like December around here. It is still going to be hot and intense, but at least you'll have a little bit better breeze and a little bit less humidity. So let me show you here on the 7-day forecast and you'll get the idea of what's going on. Notice those temperatures. We are talking about low to mid 90s every day. Again, these are Orlando numbers, mostly the inland areas of Central Florida. The beaches, when we get the east breeze, will be a little cooler in the afternoon. Some of the southern spots will be a little hotter. I do think some places could even hit 97 or 98 as we continue into Thursday and Friday. The rain chances just aren't that high. We don't have that afternoon water to cool us down. So that's the reason that Bertha is getting the thanks for bringing the heat. All right. This is Florida Weather Authority. I am meteorologist Amy Sweezy, and I thank you so much for watching this video. We invite you to like this video and, of course, subscribe to our channel. Meteorologist Tom Sorrells, Dr. Rob Eicher, we are all part of Florida Weather Authority. We've all been in Central Florida for a long time forecasting, and so we are eager to bring you the latest as we head through this upcoming hurricane season, and we hope that you'll tell your friends. We hope that you'll share these videos, and we hope that you'll join us as we head through this hurricane season together. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.